My Sunland overhead cabinet door gas struts have failed once again, and instead of trying to replace them with the originals, I found a $15 strut from Bunnings, which with a slight modification does the job extremely well. This is the Bunnings off-the-shelf gas strut replacement as fitted to the door. In addition, the top bracket is also a Bunnings component and will replace the original strut top bracket, but the bottom bracket is the original strut bracket being utilised on the Bunnings strut. The Bunnings strut is 100 newtons of force, which is 20 newtons of force greater than the original strut, and therefore I've only fitted one to one end and not to the other end. The other end has got an original strut still on it. This strut is quite powerful and will allow not only the door to be self-closed but self-latched, and will self-open and open itself right up out of the way. I'll now go ahead and show you how to fit this strut. To remove the original strut, you need to find the screw behind the bottom bracket and undo that screw. That allows this component here to slide out, and then we'll revolve the entire strut around and pull this out. So remove the bottom strut, just lift the door, and then just revolve this out and pull this straight out. Once the strut is removed, you then need to remove the top bracket with both these screws and remove the bracket completely from the door. We will be replacing that with the Bunnings component. So here we have the original strut and its top bracket, and the replacement strut from Bunnings and the Bunnings top bracket that we're going to replace. There are two differences between the existing top bracket and the replacement top bracket from Bunnings. The first one being the distance between centres of the holes. The distance between the centre of the holes on the existing bracket is smaller than that of the replacement from Bunnings. When fitting the Bunnings bracket, you must use one hole of this bracket into the existing hole on the door. The other hole you could drill in the refit and drill into the door and fit the new screw, but my preference is to drill a hole in this bracket and use the two existing holes in the door. The other is that with the Bunnings bracket, you must remember that it has a right or a left hand fitting, so when drilling a hole in the bracket you must take that into account. So I've marked where the new hole is going to go on the new top bracket from Bunnings. The distance between centres is 32 mil, and I'll be drilling a 4.5 mil hole here. Just be careful, make sure that you've got the right orientation. This is a right hand side, so this will be using the existing bottom hole in the door, and this will be using the existing top hole in the door. Take the existing ram and place it into a vise with a set of soft jaws. I'm using soft jaws because I want to maintain the integrity of the strut ram here, so as I can reuse it if I need to. This part of the strut we're going to reuse on the Bunnings replacement strut, and this is actually Loctited onto this ram. It is screwed in, but they've used Loctite, so this is quite difficult to remove. It's quite tight, so you'll find that this is very tight to remove to start with, but it will then loosen up. So once the Loctite has broken free, it becomes quite easy to continue to turn this off. and I'll just screw off, and you can see the remnants there of the Loctite. So there we have the new arrangement and the existing arrangement. Now I'm going to swap the components around. So the first thing we need to do is remove this bottom ball joint. As you can see, it's screwed, and replace it with the existing strut bottom bracket. Screw it on nice and tight. I don't think there's any need for any Loctite. Then we need to change out this ball joint for the bracket. To do that, you just remove the spring pin here and drop this down. Remove this one, pop this one in, and replace the spring pin. So that's our new arrangement ready to go. Now we're going to fit the new Bunnings arrangement to the door. The first thing you'll notice is that you must use the bottom hole into the bottom hole, and then the top one, the longer one, will go to the top. So using the screw, we screw the top of the bracket into the bottom hole. And the top screw goes into the new hole, into the top hole in the door. And you can tighten them up. Now we've got to install the bottom part. This is quite strong. To do that, I remove the top screw of this part of the bracket completely, and I just loosen this one off, just enough to allow this to rotate. The strut is very powerful, so I then slide this into its position and do up the back screw. Just nip it up for now. It'll need to be readjusted probably later on. Then I rotate this at the same time as pushing up on the ram. It's quite powerful. Replace the top screw back into its hole. And tighten it up. Tighten up the bottom one, which may require this to be moved out a little bit. And that's it.